Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Mayor's Pre-Summit Conversation Series. My name is Tora Burns, and I'm the Reading Programs Coordinator at DC Public Library. And so now I want to introduce some of my awesome colleagues that are going to be joining me on this wonderful chat today.
Hi, I'm Lauren Woody, and I am also at DC Public Library. I'm the early literacy coordinator, so I really focus on that birth to five group and their families.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jane Anderson. I'm the manager of the Child Find team at Early Stages, which is part of DC Public Schools.
Hi, I'm Cora Sagar, and I'm an early intervention therapist with Strong Start, which is DC's early intervention program.
Awesome. It's so wonderful to have all of you guys. On September 15th and 16th, Mayor Bowser will host the 4th National Mayors Maternal and Infant Health Summit, and we're excited to highlight the importance of child development and how it's an amazing opportunity for parents to know where their child is. So we're going to teach you about our organization and the different resources that we have.
Great, thanks, Tora. So I am going to kick it off by asking a few questions of the DC Public Libraries folks. My first question is, what programs and services does the library have that benefit parents and infants?
So one of the awesome programs that is a significant program in DC that impacts young children and parents, we have our Books from Birth program, and that is a program where we manage sending monthly books to children between the ages of 0 to 5, and these books are developmentally appropriate and parents are able to read along with their child. So it's a really great program, and it helps the parents build up a library for their child over the course of 5 years. So it's amazing. And then we also have, our librarians are experts about books. So we also have a link, dclibrary.org/expecting. And so while you're waiting for your child to come, you can look up book lists so that you can read books about what to do when you are expecting.
Awesome resources. Thanks, Tora. I also want to point out that both of my daughters are signed up for Books from Birth, and it's been a wonderful program for us. Another question I have, what are some ways that DC Public Library encourages families to prepare their little ones with the skills they need to start school?
Yeah, so DC Public Library has an early literacy campaign called STAR, and that stands for Sing, Talk, and Read. There is a part of our website as well it's just dclibrary.org/star that addresses those practices, singing, talking, and reading at different ages and stages, including infants. And those practices, if you do them continually with your child, will prepare your child to eventually be able to learn to read on their own when they're in school later on. So even if that seems far away, babies are building those skills as they go. So just a few quick tips on how to incorporate singing, talking, and reading into your just daily routine. So singing is really great because it's comforting, it makes time with you and time with learning fun, and it slows down language so that little ones can hear all the little sounds that make up words. And you can incorporate singing just as part of your day. So, lullabies at bedtime, or maybe something like diaper changing, an activity that maybe isn't your baby's favorite. Having a song that they associate with it can make it a little bit more of a positive experience for everyone. Or, mealtime, cleanup time, associating songs with all of those parts of your routine is a good way to get singing in there. And also just singing along with the radio and singing songs that you enjoy. They don't have to be children's songs. Just all that language that you're singing with your baby and they can hear it. That's what's important. And then talking, that's the second practice. You might feel a little silly talking with a child that can't talk back yet, and that's normal, but it's super important because from the time babies are born, they're learning how conversation works, back and forth conversation. They're learning how language works, and so if your baby babbles, you can respond in sort of a give and take way. You can mimic them, and you can also just narrate your day. So if you're at the store, if you're at the park, if you're cooking dinner, just talk about what you're seeing, what you're doing, what you're hearing, and all of that vocabulary is getting into your baby's ears. So last but not least, reading. Of course, the library loves to talk about reading. And like Tora said, Books from Birth is a great program to build your home library and have a lot of opportunities to have time with books with your baby. But you can also check out and borrow books from your local library. You can read whatever's around. You can read signs, again, when you're out on your walks, signs on the buildings, on the streets. Anytime that you can incorporate reading into your routine is going to make a positive association with reading, which is really going to serve your children well when they're learning to read on their own.
Thanks, Lauren. Those are some awesome tips. It's also something that came to my mind was, well, what do I do if my child is not developing on track? And that's actually a good segue into our next organization, which are some questions for Aussie Strong Start.
Yeah, so Cora, I was wondering, just like in general, how does Strong Start support DC families?
Yeah, absolutely. So Strong Start is DC's early intervention program. We are a free service for any family in DC who has a child from birth all the way up until the age of 3. We provide family support for children who are born with disabilities that cause a high probability of developmental delay. And we take referrals from any family who's worried that their child may not be meeting a developmental milestone. We evaluate and treat children whose families have concerns about any of the primary areas of child development. So we take a look at children's communication skills, like you were talking about previously, Lauren. We take a look at social skills, cognitive skills, so thinking, learning, and processing skills, adaptive skills, which are self-care skills, which in very small children generally look like concerns with feeding or concerns with sleep. And then we also look at gross motor skills, so big body movements. So if families have concerns about walking or crawling, and we look at fine motor skills, which are smaller body movements. So if families have concerns with children, for example, not being able to use their hands to feed themselves, or doing some of those pre-writing skills like scribbling and coloring. We provide natural environment-based services. So as long as a child is getting care in DC, a Strong Start therapist can come to the child's home to support their family. So we can see children in daycare, we can see children at home. If a child is being watched in a nanny share or by grandparents, we can go in and support that family. We use a coaching model. So what we do is empower parents to support their children and provide support to families in order to be able to support their children.
Awesome. That's so many different things that I didn't realize that you all did. So how can families actually access those services?
Yeah, so there are a few different ways to access Strong Start services. Oftentimes, families are referred by their pediatrician. All pediatricians practicing in DC have a direct line of referral to Strong Start. So if your pediatrician doesn't bring it up, you can always ask if you have a concern. We always tell parents, don't wait and wonder if you have any kind of concern. There's no harm in referring. Even if a child doesn't qualify for Strong Start services, you'll still get a full developmental evaluation, and we'll still give you resources to use at home in order to support your child. Another way that you can access Strong Start services is any family can actually self-refer. And the way to do that is going on to the OSSI website, which is ossi.dc.gov. On that website, there is a search bar. And if you type Strong Start, 2 words into the search bar, the first link will have a link to the referral form. We will also include the longer link that you can click directly on in this video.
Awesome. Thank you. So those are all really great resources for families to sort of monitor their children's development and intervene if there's concerns. And I know, Jane, that early stages has a lot of similarities with Strong Start in that way. So I was wondering, what are the resources and services that early stages offers? How is it different than Strong Start?
Great question. So first, I'll just tell you a little bit about what Early Stages is. Early Stages is an evaluation center similar to Strong Start. We work with families to identify and address developmental delays in children 2 years, 8 months to 5 years, 10 months. So you'll see there's a little bit of an overlap in the age ranges that both Strong Start and Early Stages serve. And that's because both programs are so focused on making sure no children fall between the cracks. So we want to make sure that all the children who are getting Strong Start services have a smooth transition to school services if they need school services. I neglected to mention that we're a program of DC Public Schools. We provide evaluations for DC residents who have not entered the school system yet or who are currently homeschooled. And we also serve families residing outside of DC if their children attend a DC private school or a DC childcare center. So not everyone knows that. So we do serve those children as well. And one very important thing to remember is that all of our services are completely free.
That's awesome. I know that Early Stages does a lot beyond evaluation too. What are some other resources that you provide to the community?
Yes, we do. And I'm so happy you asked that question. So Early Stages offers a variety of educational workshops on topics such as the importance of early intervention, developmental milestones, trauma and resilience, and then even how to screen a child. So we train childcare centers and schools on how to administer the ages and stages questionnaire, which is a very common developmental screening tool here in DC. We have experienced trainers that are certified by OSSI, the State Superintendent of Education, and they lead each virtual workshop with interactive lectures and discussions. I also want to mention that those workshops are professional development workshops, but we also do parent workshops. So we will serve a variety of different kinds of groups. If you would like to schedule a workshop, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can email us at education@earlystagesdc.org. And I also want to mention, sorry to interrupt.
No, I was interrupting you.
I forgot to mention how to refer a child to Early Stages, which is an important thing to know.
Yes, yeah.
So the way that you can refer a child to Early Stages is you can go to our website. It's earlystagesdc.org. And there's a button at the top of the website that says refer a child. Or you can also email us at referral@earlystagesdc.org.
Awesome. I just wanted to mention, I just remembered that, the library is offering one of those virtual parent workshops.
Pretty soon.
Early Stages is actually doing a virtual workshop that the library is hosting for parents on September 9th at 7 and September 16th at 7 on navigating the special education process at DC Public Schools. And that first one on the 9th is in English and the second one on the 16th is in Spanish. So that's something that, parents of a little bit older children would be interested in, but an example of the awesome work that Early Stages does in the community.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for mentioning that, Lauren.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I sent my neighbor to one of your workshops and just got such overwhelmingly positive feedback. It's really incredible support that those offer to families.
Thanks so much. We do nearly 400 workshops a year, so it's definitely something that's close to our hearts.
That's amazing. Kind of a closing question for all of us. Is there anything else that anybody wishes to highlight for our viewers, our DC families?
Yeah, actually, I'll go first since I was just finishing up with the DCPS Early Stages information. I just wanted to say, I think one of the most important things that parents can do to monitor child development and help their children become lifelong learners is educating themselves about developmental milestones. And then if you know what developmental milestones your child is meeting, you'll also know if they're not meeting a milestone and you can reach out for support. Another thing that parents can do is make sure that their child is screened regularly for developmental delay, which will also signal to a parent if they need to reach out for further support. And just like Cora said, we know from a lot of research over the years that the sooner you intervene if a child is experiencing a delay, the better the outcomes will be. So that's why Strong Start says, don't wait and wonder.
Yeah, I love that phrase, don't wait and wonder.
Does anybody else have anything else that they wanted to make sure to highlight?
Well, I just want to say that, like Tora mentioned earlier, that librarians, are kind of experts on books. Your library staff in your local library in the children's area can help you not just with books. I mean, of course, like finding children's books, baby books that are going to be interesting to you and developmentally appropriate for your child, but also other kinds of resources too, connecting you with resources in the community. So children's librarians and library staff in the children's area are just a great resource for information that you might be seeking. So don't be afraid sometimes people feel like, librarians look busy and so they don't want to bother them with questions, but that's what they're there for. And they get really excited when people offer them the opportunity to help. So please bother your librarians.
Stop by the desk.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I think that was a great wrap up about this discussion. We know that bringing a child into the world during this time is really interesting. So please be sure to use all of the resources that we've mentioned here. One thing that they all have in common is that they're free for DC residents. So I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Cora. Thank you, Jane. And don't forget to... Oh, thank you to me. Don't forget to visit dcmaternalhealth.com to register for this year's National Maternal and Infant Health Summit. Reminder, it will be September 15th. To learn more about DC Public Library, you can visit dcpubliclibrary.org. To learn more about early stages, you can visit earlystagesdc.org. To learn more about Strong Start, you can visit ic.dc.gov and go to the search bar at the top of the page and put in Strong Start. And that's all that we have. Please feel free to visit the libraries and come with us with a horde of questions. See you guys at the summit. Thank you. Bye.